Hello and welcome back to the Miami Book Hub. I am your host, J. Adrian Betancourt, urban planner by day, aspiring author, lover of books by night. So welcome to episode 3 of this new space where we bring in guests across the spectrum of Miami's literary community. So whether it's an author, writer, publisher, bookseller, institution, we welcome everyone in Miami's literary community to this program to talk about, literature and Miami and how those two things kind of intertwine. So as I said, we have people from all these different backgrounds in the program. Today, we have someone who wears all those hats simultaneously, plus he's an educator. So let me welcome to the program, JJ Colagrande. JJ, welcome. I should have said it's Italian, right? So Colagrande.
Thank you for having me, Javier. I'm very excited to be here. I'm flattered. I'm honored. I know it's episode 3.
Episode 3, baby.
Which is the beginning of this venture for you.
You got into the trilogy. So.
Following Lisette Mendez in episode 2, I'm flattered, and
Oh, she was great.
I'm happy to be. Yeah, I watched the whole. Yeah, she is great. Yeah.
Well, thank you, and listen,
man.
As I said, you wear multiple hats. So we have on the screen one of your hats, which is publisher of Jitney Books, and you'll talk about that.
Yep.
You're also a professor of, I imagine, writing at Miami Dade College, and an author, in your own right. And then you also write for a number of other publications, right, across different mediums. So, my gosh, do you ever have any spare time of your own?
I wear a lot of hats.
So let's talk about some of those hats, and how they intersect potentially, right? So where did you start your writing career, and which hat did you start off with?
Oh, God. Okay, so I was at FIU. I think the year was like 1999 or 2000. And I was an undergrad, and I was writing for the school newspaper, right? Okay. It's a funny story. This is where I was like, I got the bug for writing. And I always wanted to be a creative writer. I was writing short stories. I wrote my first novel when I was 16.
Wow.
And I'm at FIU as an undergrad, and I'm writing for the school newspaper, and I'm writing an opinion column. And I remember, it was the year that, at the time, you remember Jose Canseco?
Of course.
Yeah. So at the time, the entrance into FIU was called Jose Canseco Drive, right?
Yeah.
And this was at the peak of the steroid era. He had just gotten arrested for beating his wife on South Beach, and he was all high on cocaine. And I wrote this little opinion article for the school newspaper at FIU, basically why is the entranceway into our university
named after this guy, right?
Named after a wife beating, coat sniffing snitch. And then 3 days later, they changed Jose Canseco Drive, became Southwest 8th Street or 9th Street or whatever. And I was like,
this is powerful.
What do they call it? The fourth, institution or whatever.
Fourth estate, yeah.
The fourth estate. I was like, there is power in words.
Wow.
And then I got the bug as a journalist,
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went
So now you're on Jose Canseco's hit list, just so you know.
I would imagine. Yeah, bring it. Come on. Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, he doesn't like me. But
So that got you started, and then how did that evolve?
I graduated from FIU. I took a gap year, moved to San Francisco for a year and a half, 2 years. And I applied to every grad school, every MFA program in the Bay Area, New York City, and then just one school in Florida, FIU. And I really wanted to go to Stanford or Columbia, or I just wanted to be in the Bay or New York City. And I got rejected from all the programs except for FIU. So I was like, every time I try to get out, they
keep pulling you back in.
Pull me back in.
The only decent thing about that third Godfather movie is that line.
Fair, yeah. Good. Yeah, I would say, right? Yeah, so I came back to cool. Miami in 2003 for grad school at FIU for the MFA program. I'm one of those alumni. There's many of us that, and I kind of haven't left Miami since.
There's something about this place because I was born and raised here as well, and I left, and I'm never coming back to Miami. Something about it that pulls you back. I don't know what it is.
It's a rubber band city.
It is absolutely. And listen, in any city, there's good and bad, things to love, things to hate, and you have to leave sometimes to appreciate the good. And at least that was certainly my case. I imagine you may have felt the same. And by the way, so I always have to plug my book, right? So I'm writing a book, aspiring author, as I said. It is set half of it is set in Miami, the other half in San Francisco. So I think this is like a kismet here.
Is that
right?
where you left when you left?
No, I never actually lived in San Francisco, but I love the city. I think it's fascinating. And it's kind of an alter ego to Miami in many ways. And I love that about it. And so my book is all about kind of yin and yang. And so I thought that was kind of a neat structure. We won't talk about my book. We're here to talk about you. Now, fast forward, tell us about Jitney Books, because I find that fascinating. We don't have a lot of publishing houses here in Miami. There's Books and Books Press, there's Mango, but Jitney is kind of very unique. Tell us what it is and tell us, how it began.
Okay, so Jitney Books is a micro publishing company that I founded in 2016 with the aim of publishing Miami authors. Like we have a very niche, desire to publish only Miami writers. All the stories or South Florida, the South Florida media market, basically, from West Palm to
the larger Miami metro area.
Yeah, if we're watching the same, Belkis and Ray on Channel 7, we'll publish your work or something like that. But you got to be a South Florida writer. The stories have to be set in South Florida. All of the covers, have to feature South Florida artists. We wanted to tell South Florida stories from within. I felt at the time that I still feel that Miami has a way of being identified or defined by outsiders. The stories that go out about Miami are not necessarily the stories that represent what Miami is, like if you look at like the mainstream Hollywood,
it's all the stereotype of who we are. Yeah. Right.
Like we all got Lamborghinis. We're all like sniffing cocaine off strippers' butts at 11 in the morning.
We're not all Jose Canseco.
We all can't live like that. Yeah. And, and that's not Miami. And it's just, we're all bad boys. We're all like corrupt, like all that fun in the sun. So I was like, let's tell stories, organic stories, about Miami from within. Let's define ourselves from within, not let outsiders define us when they don't even know what's going on, or people from LA or New York parachuting in here and thinking they can just kind of like come up. Miami is a very proud city, we take care of ourselves.
And increasingly, I love it.
If you've been here a while, we're
coming into our own, and I think we finally embraced ourselves, right? It took a while. I think Miami had a chip on its shoulders for a long time. At least when I was growing up. We're roughly the same age, just looking at you, I think. And I feel like just in the past decade, we've really started to embrace ourselves and the 305 and the authentic Miami, to your point, right? I was raised in Hialeah. And, not the most beautiful place in the world, horrible traffic. But man, am I proud of it, because it's a city with lots of grit. It's a city of hardworking people. And people who are new to this country and making something of themselves. And you're absolutely right. That story doesn't get told well.
Yeah, no. Happy birthday, Hialeah. They just turned 100 last year. I was covering their birthday party, and there was this big art exhibition. Happy birthday, Coral Gables. Yeah, turned 100 last year. Also, we're still a young city. We are, compared to these Northeast cities. So, so that's why I started the Jitney as a publishing company, and with books, but a publishing company has, several branches. We also have a blog that produces journalism, original journalism covering like Miami arts, coverage, kind of like Miami New Times. Yeah. But even more niche than Miami New Times.
And really great writing, by the way. I've read some of the stuff your writers have published, and fantastic storytelling.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, we're more known for our blog than our books, because our blog has published to date 1,600 articles from over 150 contributors. We don't just publish anybody either, and the blog's got like 3 million views, I think, since we started. We're more known for our journalism than the books, but that's what we do. We make books, and we do arts journalism with no ads in the arts journalism. It's great. No pop-ups, no nothing. Kind of proud of that.
Now, not an easy business to be in, right? You don't go into this sometimes to become a millionaire at this point. So why is it you do it? Is it just,
I started to do it. Is there a book? There's a book behind me, like over there with the cover.
Yeah, the big orange.
That one. Or is it?
The opposite of what you think.
That one over. No, is that on? Anyway, the one with the girl.
Oh, the one with the girl. Okay.
Yeah, the one over my It's the opposite of what I think.
I'm telling
The
you.
one over my right shoulder. It's over there. I'll get it.
It's tricky.
That one. No, I'm not.
Reduce heat, continue to boil. Is that what you're pointing out?
Continue to boil. If we can zoom in on it. So, that book, was a book that I wrote, and it was, I had an agent, they were shopping it around in New York. It didn't go anywhere, and then I had a relationship with, an independent publisher up in New York City, Akashic Books. I don't know if you know who they are, but they're like the nation's largest independent publisher. They're awesome. They come down to the book fair every year for like 20 years. I'm friends with them. I've known them for a long time. They were thinking about publishing that book, and they had it for like a year and a half. And then, they ultimately like passed on it. And that's when I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm going to start a publishing company. I'm going to publish my book first. And then I'm sure there are other writers, in our market that also are either can't break through the New York mainstream publishing world, which is really, really, really hard.
It is.
And constantly changing and, shifting, or, there might be some people that don't want to.
Yeah, you lose control over your
with
work,
the New York corporate publishing world. One of my mentors at FIU, James W. Hall, who's written, who sold millions of books, over the course of his career is done with New York and would rather self-publish or use a little small micro publisher than deal with, what that machine is. So some people don't want to deal with corporate publishing. Others can't, break through. That's why I started this.
Yeah, I have to say I've learned that it's really difficult to even find a literary agent to even then pitch your book to these publishers. So
it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's
I gave up quickly, and now I'm self-publishing. This is ridiculous.
There's no shame in that. There's no stigma in it. You'll have just
come a long way too.
Just as much of an opportunity to succeed as your book would if it was published by a corporate, publisher. You'd be surprised.
And you keep all your royalties, right? And you keep most of the money.
I mean, yeah, whatever.
Right. Whatever you may make.
Yeah.
But yeah, you keep full control, right? And you get it out faster. Through Kindle and print on demand. I mean, the technology has made it possible to really succeed as an independent publisher, I think. So that's the route I'm going down. We'll see where it takes me. But yeah.
I've learned a lot, like since I started this company about the publishing industry, about, how it works behind the scene. I've seen how much it's changed, in the last 10, 15, 20 years, I'll give you an example. I mean, they don't tell you this, up front, and they don't teach you this, in graduate school. Like, I'm going to ask you a question. How many books do you think you have to sell to be considered a New York Times bestseller?
Wow.
Today.
Wow.
How many books do you have to sell to be considered a New York Times bestseller? It's a lower number than you think.
Okay, lower. I'm going to go with 10,000 then.
Yeah, so 5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
Okay.
You sell 5,000 books, which is not a lot of books. Honestly.
Right. Even in the city alone, 2.6 million people. If a small percentage of that bought your book, that's 5,000.
Yeah. And well, if today it used to be 100,000, 120,000, and then the metrics are weird. You can't just order, you can't just like have a book out and order 5,000 copies, which that would be dope. I mean, that moniker, like New York Times best-selling author, I mean, that marketing moniker is worth like $1 million. Man.
Wow.
It stays with you like the rest of your life, the rest of your career. Welcome to the show, New York Times best-selling author.
It's a validator,
yeah. But it's only now today. You sell 5,000 copies, you're a New York Times bestseller.
Why is that?
Because 1 million copies per 1 million books are published, a year. There are so many freaking books out there, and there's just little, like, people are still buying books, but there's less people buying books than before, so the number is shrank to only 5,000. Now, mind you, if you sell 5,000 books, like, you probably made your publisher maybe like $25,000, so there's not like a lot of money, like and
many of them will pay you in advance, part of that, right? So they're not even making that necessarily.
People won't tell you this, but I think it's very healthy to talk about like the economics and the business side of it and what like the reality is of publishing. As a publisher, I cannot tell you how many times I was talking to an author who had these visions of grandeur, like they were going to sell 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 books. And I'm like, you're not, dude.
You're not J.K. Rowling, buddy.
Maybe, maybe. I can't curse, so I can't say the things that are in my mind. But like the odds of that happening are like 1 in a million. And it's very, very, very. You're probably going to sell 300 books, and they're like, they think that that's shame, and that's actually what most independent books sell nowadays. You know. Yeah, I have friends that have agents that get the big corporate book deal, the 2-book deal or 1-book deal, right? And they get the full machine, the corporate publishing world behind them. Tons of press, tons of distribution, like, worldwide or at least countrywide. Publicity, like the whole machine, a book tour planned for you, and they make, a paycheck, and like, they won't tell you this, it's $10,000. Maybe you just sold your book, you have an agent, you got to deal with Simon & Schuster, and you're a first-time author. You probably made a check for $10,000 for a book that probably took you 3 years to write, another 2 years to shop around. You had to wait 2 years for it to come out. You're talking about like 7-8 years, and then you made $10,000. If your book takes off and goes crazy, all right, you'll start making some more money. If your book wins an award, you'll get money from that way, and you'll more likely to get a second, book. You can go do the circuits, make a little bit of money doing appearances. But like most authors that go the route of corporate publishing, like they sell 1 book, make $10,000, and then if that book doesn't take off, and most of them don't, that's it, man. The agent will go away. They won't even get their second book published. And on top of many of my friends, and on top of making very little, you're expected to spend money, right, to actually promote yourself and promote your book, even if you have the big. And this is what I've heard anyway. Is listen, this is a business. The writing itself is an art, but if you want it published and you want it sold, it is a business, and you have to think about it as a business, and that means investing in it yourself, on top of what a publisher may do if you're lucky enough to have a publisher. So you got very little money coming in and a lot of money going out. So at the end of the day, why do people do this? I imagine it's because they love it. They're passionate about it. They have a story inside them that they need to get out, right? Yeah. Is that why you write? Yeah, we love it. We can't, we're writers, we do what we do. It's like a drug. Yeah. It's a dream. Yeah. For me, it was a dream, and then it became a goal, and then it was a reality. And, I might not be seen as a successful writer, author, maybe around the world, because I don't sell hundreds of thousands, or even the country. But I feel like I'm a success. I feel like I'm in the arena. Hey, you're on the Miami Book Hub podcast, so you must be a success. 3. Episode 3. Yeah. So let's go back to Miami Dade College for a second. Okay. You teach there. Yeah. We love Miami Dade College. I in my previous episode with Lisette at the Miami Book Fair, which is also part of the college, I said, and I will say again, I think Miami Dade College is the single most indispensable institution in Miami-Dade County, just because of the role it plays in Miami and helping people, providing them access to opportunity, especially the immigrants who come here with nothing. So I love Miami-Dade College. What is your specific role there? Like, what do you teach? If somebody is interested in taking a course, do they have to enroll in the college? Can they take it as just like a one-off, if they just want to learn how to write? Yeah, so aren't seeking a degree. Wolfson campus, which is the downtown campus, tenured assistant professor, and I teach creative writing, and I teach second-year college students, ENC 1102. I'm pretty much every semester. You can take my class as an accredited student. You can take my class just for fun, my creative writing class. I'm there. I do other things at the college. I just started a storytelling salon. We started a club. I'm a faculty advisor for this photography club. And I'm with you, man. Like I drink the Kool-Aid on Miami Dade College. Like, it's a great school. And you're right. We provide an affordable education to a large amount of people that wouldn't normally have access to an education at all. I put us up with FIU or UM, to be honest, any day of the week when it comes to like the faculty and the talent that we have at Miami Dade. I will battle. I say this publicly. I will take on any professor at FIU or UM in a write-off in real time.
Oh, I love the idea.
You know
Let's have a write-off.
Like,
I love
it. Like, who teaches at UM? You know, it's like, and I used to teach at UM as an adjunct, you know, when I was an adjunct at Dade. And it's not like, UM pays, I think, 10 times more than Dade students. You know, Dade students pay $300 a credit. Yeah. UM students, I think right now pay $4,000 a credit. That's $12,000. It's ridiculous, like per class or so. I don't, per class, and it's like, I don't think you're getting a different education necessarily at the University of Miami than you would at Dade for these lower level courses, right. So, and then when you look at the cultural affairs programs that Miami Dade College has, does University of Miami have an international film festival that starts in 2 weeks? Nope. Does University of Miami have a? I don't mean to poo-poo UM.
No, it's okay. Hey, listen, they have a better football team than you do.
They do. No, I don't mean to poo-poo UM at all. I have a lot of love for UM and everybody there.
We love the U.
I have a lot of love for the U. I do. A lot of my friends went to the U, and a lot of my colleagues work there, and I have a lot of love for the U. But I will say, the Miami Dade College's cultural affairs. Yeah. Between the book fair, between the film festival, live arts, we own the Freedom Tower.
All the historic properties, yeah.
Yeah, man. We do. We're indispensable for this city. Absolutely. Still.
Agreed. Go
regardless
college.
Of certain things I would like to say, but I can't. Or irregardless, but it's all good.
No one and no place is perfect, right? Now, I can't help notice your shirt. It's got this little retail storefront that some people may recognize. Tell us why you're wearing that.
Yes, so this is a shout out to Books and Books and Mitch Kaplan and Christina Nasty and the whole team that they have there. It's also a shout out to the Miami Stadium account. I don't know if you know this account on Instagram. He's the one that made this shirt. No. Abel. I don't know his last name, but he runs an account on Instagram called Miami Stadium. It's like a History Miami Instagram account. He makes these shirts.
Oh, cool.
It's really cool follow. So yeah. Love Books and Books,
Love Books and Books, I have to say. I'm going to have my book launch there on September 22nd. So,
there, dude. I'll be there.
Couldn't have thought of a better place. And,
when I started Jitney Books, the first thing I did, did two things. First thing I did was I called Mitchell Kaplan, to me, he's been kind of like a godfather.
He is the patron saint.
Yeah, man. And he's
of literature in Miami.
He's best friends with one of his best friends is Les Standiford, who runs the, FIU MFA program. Every year they have a barbecue at Les's house to welcome the incoming MFA students, and also alumni come. And Mitch is there, every year. And when I met him, I was just like shaking. I brought my whole mom and dad. I was so nervous to be going to grad school. And Mitchell was always warm and embracing of me. Since
kindest man I've ever met.
And this was 25 years ago, so I consider him a mentor and kind of like an uncle figure, or, so the first thing I did when I wanted to start Jitney Books was I called Mitchell up and, I said, can I come into the bookstore for lunch? And I have this idea, and I ran it by him, and he was like, I can't imitate him. I wish I could. JJ, go for it. Do your thing, something like that. We'll support you any way that we can. I don't do a great Mitchell voice, but
doesn't sound at all like him, but I love it. I know what you're going for.
The second thing I did.
We love you, Mitch.
The second thing I did was I called Lisette Mendez, at the Miami Book Fair, and I went to her and I asked her, "What do you think? I'm thinking about starting this independent, small press in Miami, and I was like, I don't think I can do it without the support of you." Mitchell was like, "Go for it, whatever you need," and Lisette was like, "Go for it, Jay. Like whatever you need, we'll help you out in any shape that we can." And Mitchell and Lisette were very helpful to us when we launched the company or the press in 2017 or 18, something like that. 17.
And I think that's one of the special things about Miami is the culture here, the literary culture. It's very welcoming, very open, very supportive. And I don't know that that's necessarily the case in other cities. Certainly not New York, right? There's like this snobbery and this kind of, exclusivity to some of those communities that simply not present here. From my perspective, you tell me if I'm wrong, but is that one of the things that makes us unique?
I don't like Mango Press I don't like Mango. There's some people I don't like in this city, but like, I think competition is healthy,
Sure.
you know, but in terms of like there's certain organizations that are, you know, really rooted in this community, you know, like Books and Books, like Bookleggers, like Oh Miami, like the Miami Book Fair. And I would throw Jitney Books in there now too, that we've been doing this for 10 years. You know, more for our journalism than our books, but our books are read and known also.
So I meant to ask this earlier. I apologize. Is Jitney accepting new works at this point for books? I know you're focused on blogs, and books are I know, a lot of work.
I've said this before, you know, I'll say this again, you know, so I when I started Jitney, I bought 20 ISBN numbers. I've made 20 books as a publisher, like JJ Colagrande,
right.
You know, does not want to be, you know, the editor, the publisher, the one who designs the cover, the one that does the layout, the one that works with the author, the one that markets all of the books. You know, I've always wanted this to be more like a co-op, where it kind of is like a shared model. You know, I feel like I've built this brand and the name is respected. Like we are not a vanity press. You know what that is?
Yeah, of course.
If you don't know what a vanity press is a publisher, like a predatory publisher or a publisher that will charge you money to publish your book. And there are a lot of them out there. Even there is a lot of respectable, reputable presses became vanity presses where, you know, oh, we'll publish your book, but $10,000 to do the cover, $15,000 for the editing, whatever. You know, they charge you $25,000. Very common. You know, we've never charged an author, you know, $1. You know, I was raised the right way by Lynn Barrett, you know, and Lisette Mendez, you know, at FIU. And you know, I consider us very literary. I think that we have a very good reputation. The publishing house, you know, I just don't want to do any more books as the publisher / editor. I want to be like an advisor. Okay. You know, so I'm not closed to making more books, but I'm close to doing this, you know, me. If somebody else wants to come along and someone a little younger, maybe somebody a little bit more hungry, you know, the brand is here. We're not going away. The press is here. We're not going away. You know, and I could be more like an advisor, like a senior advisor.
Which is, by the way, invaluable, just that alone, because it's very daunting as someone new to this space. Like you said, there are a lot of predators out there. There are a lot of components to this business that you don't even think about when you're just writing a book. I mean, they've said writing is hard enough, but that's the easy part. It's everything you do afterwards that's really difficult. And so having someone to just guide you through the process is extraordinarily valuable. And I found that person in Lisette early on. I spoke to her. I think, you know, I'm going to learn hopefully a lot from you. And that's one of the reasons we're doing this, is just to, you know, provide resources and information to people, because it really is. If
you wanted to publish your book and you didn't want to self-publish it, I'd be like, okay, let's let Jitney publish it. And then I would be like an advisor to you and share everything that I know about it, you know, and all my connections that I've met. And, you know, and I have to say this because, like, I've said this before where, like, I don't want to make any more books. Like, I've said this about like 3 or 4 times, and then it's just like leaving Miami, you know.
You can't help yourself.
Every time you think you're out, it's like they pull you back in. But, you know, I'm just kind of, my headspace is just a little exhausted.
You can only do so much. I mean, like I said, you wear multiple hats as it is, right?
But that you would be a perfect person where it's like, okay, you know, if you're down to self-publish, you know, it wouldn't be self-publishing because it'd be a Jitney book, which gives you credibility and stability and respectability. Not that self-publishing wouldn't, you know, but it's it's better. It's a step up from self-publishing. Right. We would do all the same, you know, it would be the same sort of layout as self-publishing, but you would have a lot more advice and coaching, but in terms of whatever money you would make, it would be the same. You know. Well,
let's do it. I'm not that far down the road yet.
We can talk about it.
We could do it. Awesome.
If you want to do it,
I love it. Absolutely.
We can do it.
All right,
read the book first.
This show's over. I got what I needed. No, I'm just kidding.
I need to read the book first, but
of course. If it's garbage, I don't expect you to print it.
We say no more than we say yes about 3 to 1 ratio.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
So listen, and that's because you care about quality books. You know, if you're going to put your name on it, let's talk about
working with the right people like that. That I've learned is invaluable. You know, I would rather. if someone's a diva or someone's, like really difficult, like, and they're going to sell 1,000 books, right? Which would maybe make us $5,000, which isn't a lot of money anyway, right? I would rather not have that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I'd rather work with someone that's easy to work with, someone that I like, that's very important.
Yeah, absolutely
too,
agree.
right?
Absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the books that Jitney has published, including some here on the table, some behind us. You've pointed one out earlier. I'll let you decide which one you want to start with.
So yeah, this is fun, man. I'm glad it came out. We've published 20 books from about 12 different authors, 13 different authors. I think our most successful book, I'll bring this, is called Tour. And this is written by Pedro Medina Leon, who's a bestseller. Did I put it in the right place?
I think so.
To show it? I'm not sure. Anyway, the Tour is actually not nonfiction, and it's awesome. Pedro wrote this book. It's actually first published in Spanish, and we translated it into English. And what it does is it takes you around the city of Miami, and with all these like vignettes, these small little like nonfiction kind of like chapters or stories about like Miami's history to pop culture icons or stories, whether it's like Jim Morrison, Bob Marley, the Bee Gees, and it has like a literary sort of like bend to it, So this book's very popular. It makes a good gift. We've sold over 5,000.
Wow.
I think, since it came out a few years ago.
So it's a good way to get to know Miami.
It's a very good way to get to know Miami.
The real Miami.
And it the Miami that people wouldn't normally know about. Oh, this person was connected to Miami. Yeah. That person was connected to Miami.
We actually have a fascinating history, and people just really don't appreciate it. And between History Miami Museum and things like, Dr. Paul George, who I adore, and our local writers and what you're doing, I think we're starting to get that story out. But there's still a lot of uncovered kind of nuggets to be mined, right? It's there, but people aren't aware of it. So we have to bring it to the forefront. Yeah.
I mean, there's so much,
there is.
We can make 12 seasons of 16 episodes each of streaming TV based on the first 6 months of 1980 in Miami. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Miami Vice is just like, the tip of the iceberg, man. There's so much more.
There's so much storytelling here, and there really is. It's rich in storytelling.
And it makes it somewhat easy to write here, because you just have to observe what's happening, and man, there's a book written a day. Carl Hyacin has made an entire career out of it, right?
That is exactly why we have a very rich literary history, is because we're so weird and we're so wicked. So it's very easy to get stories.
Never a dull day.
There's never a dull.
Very quickly, we actually have run out of time, so I'm definitely going to have you back to talk about all of this some more.
That flew by.
But let's talk about really quickly your books and where people can find them and buy them.
My books. You can just Google me, and
You've got some great books out there, so
I don't need to plug myself, man.
All right. Well, we'll plug your website. They can find it there, right? JitneyBooks.com?
Yes, JitneyBooks.com. Okay. All the books are available there. Feel free to give us a follow on Instagram.
What's your handle?
At Jitney Books, and or me personally at JJ Colagrande. Support local artists, support independent writers,
independent bookstores.
Yeah,
as well.
This interview flew by.
It's ridiculous. Like well over time, but I don't want to stop.
We're overtime.
We're like a good 10, 15 minutes overtime. It's okay. Yeah.
Don't get me going, man.
That means it was a good conversation. So listen, you're welcome back anytime. Come alone, come with your authors, come with students, whatever you want to do. That's what we're here for.
Okay. Right? Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, thank you so much, man, for having me.
No, thank you.
Thank you for starting this.
And folks, thank you for watching. Please, if you enjoyed this episode, like it, share it, subscribe, do whatever you do out there in the social media world. We also want to thank our partners in this, Miami's Community Newspapers. Thank you, Anzoni, back there producing the program. And thank you for this lovely space, which is ironically surrounded by books, not coincidentally. And that's all the time we have here. So please tune in for future episodes of the Miami Book Hub. Once again, I'm your host, J. Adrian Betancourt. Look forward to seeing you next time. And in the meantime, keep reading, keep writing, and stay curious, Miami.